This is Will at Cedardale Communications. Welcome back to another one of our videos. Have you ever noticed that life is much more enjoyable when you're having fun? Yeah, that may seem kind of redundant, but it's not quite obvious these days, especially when we're seeing so many competing beliefs, core values. A lot of our vision of the world is being challenged. The traditional way that we go to work, we show up, even getting paid and the amount of enjoyment you get out of things you do in life. So, of course, motivation can be a struggle. And if you're currently going through that, it's understandable. Take your time to pick yourself up and get the ball rolling as soon as you feel you possibly can, as long as you've got a little bit of energy in there, because the first thing to get motivated is just to start moving, get going. Motivation itself, I would say the backbone of it is achievement. Now, when we're motivated, we tend to even exceed our own expectations. When we do things that we love, when we do things from a place that we really enjoy it, the end result is much different than when we're just going through the motions. Achievement on its own builds confidence and gives you a sense of purpose and really just keeps feeding your motivation. But of course, getting motivated is the challenge. So how do you actually get going? How do you start? One of the tips and tricks we're going to give you today, the first one would be to create a system for yourself where you reward yourself. When you treat life as a game, when you treat life as something fun, it's easier to start building things, but you're always going to be tackling things that you just don't want to do. Things that may require a certain degree of challenge, a certain degree of a mental capacity, or just to get you out of your wheelhouse altogether. When you face these kinds of walls, you need to be able to find the energy and the motivation to get going. And one of the best things you can do is to give yourself a reward for the accomplishment part. Don't reward yourself all the time for doing routine things, because then it just becomes a false sense of validation. It'll start really stunting and killing your motivation because the reward just means nothing anymore. So it's important to remain focused and reward yourself when the challenge is there, not when it's something that it's just like making your bed or getting up. Introduce challenges to yourself, introduce challenges in your life. When things get mundane, your entire life gets affected by that wavelength. It's almost like being on a lifeline, on life support, and really having no motivation to get out of it. The best thing you can do is start things. Look for things that you can learn out of these challenges and start small. Don't give yourself a huge challenge from the beginning that's just going to knock you out, deflate you, and then it's going to require even more energy to get back up. Now, no matter what your goal is, whether it's running a marathon, whether it's writing a book, learning a new language, losing weight, whatever it may be, add these challenges incrementally. Take it on a step-by-step kind of thing. And again, with your built-in reward system, you'll be able to know when you met one of your major landmarks. You'll be able to do something nice for yourself, and then the motivation will just keep coming, keep flowing. And motivation and confidence and everything you need to get on purpose. One of the things that we often hear as well in coaching and mindset training, it's the idea of creative visualization and being able to see yourself where you want to be. Now, this is something that's really important, to have an idea of your end goal, but don't live in your end goal. A lot of people spend a lot of time, say for example, what you want to be is a state senator. So you see yourself there in the legislature or whatever governing body it is, in the Senate. And you can see yourself there, you're living in the future, but when you snap out of it, you're back in the reality where you're going to have to do a lot of work to get there. And that can be quite deflating. So skip thinking about the visualization of the finish line and start thinking about the effort that goes into making things into a reality. Imagine the steps that it takes to achieve that success and the challenges that may come up. So since you're already introducing challenges, that helps you to adopt a problem-solving mind. So whenever things come up, you're not going to be freaking out. You're going to be, I'm on top of this, or there's something to learn here, and I'm going to be able to tackle it again, or at least the next time this comes up, I know who can handle it, and I know I can't, or I can do it to a certain level. So you start developing strategies to overcome challenges. The next thing I would say is taking control. A lot of people, like for example myself, I'm not one who likes to sit behind the driver. I like to have an involvement in whatever it is that's around me. It's taking the leadership to be able to shape, to be able to influence the world around you, as well as your setting. You may be involved in a project, you may be involved in a group, where you really have no personal control over the outcome, so you're really not invested. You will find trouble getting motivated, but if you find things along the way that you're able to speak to, if you're able to identify with certain things, it'll give you a bit more enjoyment out of it. People enjoy being in control. But do keep in mind, there are a lot of things that you can't control, such as other people's behavior, what they may think, and what they might do. So all you can do yourself is present what you're working on, is present your thought, present where you are, show up, and they can take it or leave it. So the most important thing is focus on what you can shape and what you can influence, and the rest is the rest. That's it. Lastly, I would say that too many people spend time thinking about the destination. So always be thinking about your journey. What steps will be required to get to that beautiful destination in the end? A lot of times we don't keep in mind that we do have this end goal, but the end goal may change. There may be, say for example, you're working towards a job, but then there may be restructuring and changes, and that job will no longer exist. So your destination really is a series of things that you enjoy. Maybe they're skills, maybe they're attributes in a person, but you have to look at it more in a general sense. You're still kind of, locked into where you want to be. Say, for example, again, the state senator. The state senator has to have charisma, has to have leadership, has to have a good team, has to be a good listener, good communicator, etc. Of course, this is in an ideal world. But a lot of those things, like, for example, a good communicator, well, you might end up thinking, well, maybe I should be a lawyer, or maybe I could work in marketing or in PR. There's always something that you can take out of a situation. So there's always opportunity. What has been the most effective and rewarding things in this journey towards your destination? What have you learned? How has that made you richer? And what opportunities in this journey have that possibility of making you stronger, of making you wiser? It's all good parts of personal growth and leadership and motivation. And when you realize that you're learning things along the way, you're improving as a person, it'll give you the motivation even to tackle bigger challenges, and to realize that when you keep track of your rewards, you're building towards something fantastic and you're getting stronger. In closing, I would say that the process is not the same for everyone. So don't start comparing yourself with someone else, like someone maybe in one of your classes is doing so much better, or so many different things that you wish you would have done. Their path is much different from yours, and yours will never be the same as theirs. You might share a lot of similarities, but your path is your own. It's your own to shape, your own to decide, and your own as well to react to situations. A lot of what we do in life is based on our mindset. I know what I found effective in my life is always to approach things with a sense of humor, with a sense of playfulness, and then things just become a game. So, for example, I always used to say as well when I used to work in big, busy environments, very dynamic, a lot of stress, people would often tell me that I had a very good perspective on things. I was always very positive and I always brought the best in me. This is not something that just happened overnight. It's a lot of work that I did to myself. I used to try to find enjoyment in different things. I enjoyed communicating with different people and learning from my colleagues and really creating bonds. And by doing so, work becomes fun. And there's nothing more valuable to yourself when you start enjoying experiences and you start building things where you're having fun, and that just builds motivation. You just want to keep showing up. Imagine having your dream job. This is probably one of the best things. I've had a situation similar to that. I worked in one of my dream organizations. I had a job that was okay. I really enjoyed it. I was really good at it, but it had a very limited growth to it. So the organization itself was small too, so there were no real opportunities for leadership, but I really enjoyed working there. I enjoyed my colleagues, I enjoyed a lot of the challenges that came, and as well a lot of the diversity in the environment, and the fact that in the capacity I pretty much had relationships with everyone within the organization. So that's basically a dream scenario. It's a place that you want to show up every day. You're smiling on a Monday morning going into work. But as things changed, there was a lot of, political scheming, a lot of toxicity in the environment, a lot of like high school cliques, so to speak. And when you're on the outside of that, you start bearing the blunt of a lot of issues. And then people start playing blame games. It may fall on top of you, which eventually it fell on top of me. And it was really draining to my motivation. I still showed up, but every day I felt exhausted, and I knew I needed a change in my life. I knew this environment was no longer serving me, so I was looking for opportunities of, okay, these are my skills. What can I do? What can I do with the jobs, the elements of the job that I liked elsewhere, and where will I be able to grow and learn? It's easier said than done a lot of times, and it does take a lot of patience, a lot of inner strength, but there will always be challenges in life. There will always be things that make you feel deflated. And it's up to us to react, to put ourselves back together, and to always keep track of our value. So as you try to apply these steps into your life, think of that. Think of the value it brings and how much it increases your own value, how much you've learned, how much you bring to the table. And then things will start gelling together. It takes time, and there really is no... You have to have a roadmap to where you want to go, basically. So start planning out your steps, plan out your challenges, and get going. More than anything as well, always keep in mind self-care. Keep in mind that you're important, and do the things you like to do as well. That will also increase motivation. When you start boosting that energy around your entire life, everything starts to look the same. Everything starts to get boosted. You start to get better quality relationships, friendships, jobs. Everything gets influenced with this wonderful energy. So remember how strong you are. And if there's anything that you would like to ask us, please feel free to send us an email at info@cedardalecommunications.com. Or leave us a comment below, and we'll be happy to adapt a video based on what you're asking, what you're interested in, and hopefully we can help you along the way. So, have yourselves a great day, and thanks again for tuning in.